Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Leigh Fuge, and in this video today we're going to be talking about the brand new FOD drive from MXR. The FOD drive is a really cool new concept from the guys at MXR, which combines the idea of a dual amp rig, but in pedal format. Now, many guitar players, maybe you as you're watching this, will rely on two different amps for their tone. I've done this a lot myself in the past, where I've paired like a Marshall style amp with a Fender style amp for a really great blend of two different types of amp flavors. MXR have combined this into one pedal, so it's all centered around this blend control. So when the blend control is all the way counterclockwise, this is like a sort of mid-range, heavy, crunchy, Marshall-y kind of tone. And with the blend control fully clockwise, it's more of an American scooped kind of Mesa Boogie tone. Now the cool thing here is you can dial it in to either extreme, or you can blend the two together. This is really, really useful for capturing a sort of mix of different tones. So if you're trying to fine tune your rig and get that twin amp vibe, but without having to take two amps with you, it's a really cool idea. Now I have the back off this pedal for a reason. I don't normally make a habit of just taking the backs off pedals for fun. It's because the output and the gain controls you see on the front of the amp control just the high gain side, so the more scooped American side. Inside the pedal, there are two little trim pots here which control the gain and volume for the crunch side. So that's a little bit of an annoying feature from someone like me who likes to tweak pedals a lot. If you're the sort of person that likes to just set it up and forget about it, then it's fine. For me, it's a bit of an inconvenience to have to take the back off a pedal every time I want to dial the crunch in slightly different, but you know, it's a minor inconvenience to keep the pedal this small, and it does sound great. We've got a master tone control here as well, and like I said, the blend control. And in the middle, there's a 3-position mini toggle switch, which controls the mid sort of response of the pedal as well. In the up position, it's completely flat, so you get a neutral kind of flat mid. In the middle position, you get a nice mid hump, and in the down position, you get a mid scoop. So between the two different amp types, the master tone and 3-position mid switch, you can get a lot of tones out of this. You can even dial in the volumes different on the crunch and high gain side. So as you twist this, you get different volume textures. The controls inside are currently as they were when MXR sent me the pedal to demo. I will tweak those as we go along. I'll probably leave the volume the same, but I'll tweak the gain control to show you the range of gain on that side, on the crunch side that is. Obviously the gain for the high gain side is controlled via the top of the pedal. I think it's a really cool concept, and I love the color on it as well. This kind of black pedal with a red glitter finish is really cool. It got these nice see-through knobs. I actually thought the knobs would light up at first. I was a little disappointed when I found out they didn't, because that would look really cool if they'd put some LEDs under there as well. Would be pretty fun, I think. But it's a great concept for a pedal, and I think anyone who is looking for that twin amp sound will really enjoy the sounds of this pedal. So with that in mind, I think we should plug this thing in and see what kind of tones we can get from it. The guitar I'm going to be using is this Jackson Adrian Smith signature model. This is obviously a Strat inspired guitar with a humbucker in the bridge and two singles. A typical super Strat style, very versatile for demoing this kind of pedal. I'm plugged into the Blackstar Studio 10 6L6 that you see behind me over there. This is running completely clean. All the reverb's coming from the amp, but all the gain will be coming from the pedal. The amp's mic'd to the Lewitt Audio LCT 440 condenser microphone. So the best place to start, as always, is to set everything on the pedal to 12 o'clock. Set the mid response to flat, so we're going to get a neutral sort of response here. Turn the pedal on. We're going to hear a perfect blend here of the crunch side, which is lower gain, and the high gain side, because the blend control is straight up the middle. So here's how this sounds. So with that blend control straight up the middle, there's not a huge amount of drive there. Let's explore the high gain side first so we don't have to go into the back of the pedal. So I'm going to fully blend the high gain side in. Let's just play it with the remaining settings still at midnight, but this is fully on the high gain side. So even though that's not super high gain, you can hear that slightly mid-scooped American character. Let's push that gain up now to 3/4 of the way. So this is where we should start getting more into that kind of Mesa Boogie full stack kind of feel. So straight away that's boosted the gain quite a bit. Now let's go full gain on the high gain side. So there is quite a bit of gain on tap. Now let's play with the mid bump in the middle on. So I'm boosting the mids now. I'm going to bring the gain down just a tiny bit as well to back to 3/4 of the way, but with a mid kick. So you can definitely hear that prominent mid there. That's kind of like a tube screamer in the front of a boogie style amp. Let's go for the mid scoop now. This is where we're going to get more into that 80s thrash metal kind of tone. So you can get pretty heavy with this thing. Now let's go all the way over now to the crunch side. So obviously the gain and output controls here you see on the top aren't going to affect this side of the pedal. All the control for this happens inside. So start off with the flat response. Now that's almost verging on clean, so let's go to the mid bump now. We're going to share that same tone with a bit more of a mid push. So again, same sort of vibe, low gain there with a mid bump, kind of like a tube screamer into a clean-ish Marshall. Now let's go for the scooped option. So the mid scoop actually lends itself really well to using with single coils. I flip to the next single coil there, you get a lot of that kind of Fender style scooped quality. I think that's what's really interesting about that setup there, because a lot of the great Strat players would play a Strat into like a Marshall style amp. Now Fender Strat pickups are slightly scooped anyway, so you kind of get that mid from the amp with the scoop from the guitar. It's kind of like putting a Tube Screamer into a Fender Twin or something like that as well. Pretty cool sound, really good for sort of Hendrixy blues stuff. But now I think we've got to crank the gain on the crunch side and see what that can really do. So I'm going to get my screwdriver now, and I'm going to go into the back of the pedal and tweak that up as well. So the control for the gain, I've got the pedal upside down here. It's this one here, which would be at the top of the pedal. So it's actually set pretty low at the moment. So I'm going to crank it. I'm just going to crank it all the way up. Let's just go all in with this for now. So we've got full gain on the crunch side, on the bridge pickup. Now that's the kind of tone I was expecting from this pedal. So now we're starting to come alive with it a bit. So now I'm actually going to go back to a halfway blend. So we've got a full gain on the crunch side, and I'll go full gain on the high gain side as well. So full gain both sides. I'm going to take that mid scoop off and go back to the flat response. And actually after this, I'm going to go back and play the crunch side on its own with the flat response, because I just realized it was on the scooped sound. So here is both sides, full gain, flat mid response. So now we're really starting to come alive here. So let's go back to that crunch side now with the flat mid response, just because I forgot to do that. So what we should hear now is sort of a Marshall-y stack kind of texture. So again, very, very kind of thick, warm sort of Marshall-y tones there, blended in with the high gain side, which is the sort of boogie side. You can really create some cool textures. So we haven't really talked about the tone control, so I'm just going to play a couple of notes and just move that tone control just to let you see what it does. Obviously the tone control is very, very subjective to the player. I never push tone controls too high because I don't like guitar sounds that are overly bright, but obviously this is all down to you and what you want to hear. So I'm just going to play a little bit and move that tone control so you can get an idea of the range it has. Okay, so obviously, as you can see there, depending on where the blend is and where the mid position switches as well, that tone control does a huge amount of stuff. So even though the actual layout of the pedal is fairly simple, there's a lot of tweaking you can do with this thing. You can really go deep, and obviously the interaction between where that mid scoop or boost is versus the tone control and the blend, there's so many different options for what you can do, and you can blend in everything from like a real Marshall-y kind of tone. So if I just go back to my kind of flat position, I'll go all the way back to the crunch side to like a Mesa Boogie tone. So I'm just going to play again, and I'll just move that blend control so you can hear the shift in tone. So there you go, guys, there is the FOD drive from MXR. As you can see, it does a lot of different tones. It's that sort of twin amp stack and a pedal vibe. Sounds great. There's so many different tones in there for everyone, whether you want a sort of cleaner crunch kind of tone or a super heavy Mesa Boogie style tone, or somewhere in the middle of the two, you can pretty much get it. I mean, I don't think many people anticipated MXR would come out with a pedal where you could blend like a clean plexi tone with a dual rectifier kind of tone. It's a pretty extreme idea, but it works really well because, like I said at the start, a lot of players rely on two different amps for their tone. And this is a great way to do that if you're maybe only gigging with one amp, or space is a premium and you have to go to a gig and you can't take your full rig. This is a great alternative to get that sort of thick 2-amp guitar sound. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. The only thing I didn't like was the position of the trim pots for the crunch side being inside the pedal, purely because I'm a tweaker. I like to constantly tweak my sound. And yeah, for me, that would be the side of the pedal that I would get the most use out of. I would use the crunch side more than the high gain side, personally. So I would like the ability to control those easier. But again, you know, to keep it this size, they've got to do something. The only other alternative would be to maybe put those sort of stacked pots that you see on some pedals. But again, I think MXR have done a great job. It's a great sounding pedal. And if you're happy to just set it up and forget about it, then you will never, ever have a problem with it. It sounds great and I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of the FOD drive from MXR. Or maybe you're calling it the FOD. I don't know, there's no dots. I just went with FOD because it rolled off the tongue a bit better. But maybe we're going to call this the FOD drive. I'm not sure. FOD I think sounds a little bit better though. But let me know what you think about it. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this drive pedal. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. And while you're down there, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you guys subscribing really, really helps me to keep on growing this channel and working with great companies like MXR producing these kind of videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to hearing your thoughts down below. I will see you guys very soon.